Hello to all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of Los Sos, the most sexiest NX review show out on the internet right now, and of course, part of our BC WrestlePod YouTube, Twitch, podcasting network, conglomeration, syndicate thingamabob we do here on the internet. I am your host, Mikey, and joining me this week, of course, is the whole entire crew of NXT Los. First and foremost, sandwiched between both myself and our third host is Papa Oso himself, Will, who it was fun having the conversations. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this show.
Yeah, me too.
I've missed this. We didn't get to do this last week, so we got 2 weeks of what the wank was that? So I cannot wait. And then, of course, rounding out this amazing trio is, of course, my friend to both Will and I, Mr. Macho Rodriguez. Hello, my friend. I'm happy to have you here because there's a lot to talk about because we got lots of things this episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this mediocre episode of NXT, but definitely looking forward to the opinions because I feel like we quite possibly shared a lot of them last night. Not, obviously it was a go-home show, so not much to the extent.
Right. And I feel like, I don't know if I said this in person when we're together or in our chat, but at least the last couple of go home shows, I always end up not liking them before the pay-per-views, which is kind of weird, but we'll dissect all of that because NXT has the formula, at least in my mind, for their go home shows is to get, people to watch the show, but then also continue to build the pay-per-view and what potentially might come after that. So we'll talk about all that. But before we get into it, a little bit of housekeeping, which, really quickly, if you like what you see on your screen here on YouTube and Twitch, and you want to see what other shenanigans and other things do all of these 10, yes, there is 10 of us in this whole family of BC WrestlePod. It is crazy out here. And you were like, what else do they do? Well, internet person that I have no idea who you are personally, but I'm glad you're here. You can check out our social medias at Facebook. We have an Instagram. We are on Blue Sky. We have Threads account. It is crazy out here. We do report cards, watch alongs. We have merchandise if you want. It is fantastic. We're glad to have you here. I love you being here. And make sure to check out our social medias for all the extra cool content. And I can announce it here, even though we're in the middle of February. Don't worry, we have lots of crazy stuff planned for WrestleMania weekend. So you're going to either love us or you're going to get tired of seeing all of our faces. And everything, culminates with, I want to say, like maybe a good chunk of the crew coming out and crashing at my house for a couple of days during WrestleMania weekend. So we're about to have our own NXT invasion, so it is wild. Yes, Nick, friend to the channel, we will get to there when we get to there, because me and Professor were in the middle of the AEW review when that happened on NXT television, and I'm like, okay, Professor, we gotta hurry up, I'm gonna watch this right now. So we're gonna talk about Ricky Starks when we get there, but without further ado, let us begin. So this is the go-home show for NXT, which is happening a couple days before their first PLE of 2025, which is Vengeance Day, which we will talk about and do our predictions in a bit.
I got things to say.
Yes.
So, go home shows, it annoys me. Can I just say that I got annoyed watching this? And when did the bar get set so low? Go home shows get you excited for the pay-per-view? And I know, Mikey, you and I have seen some amazing go home shows.
Right. There's
we've seen more crappy ones than we've seen good ones.
Look, as much as I love NXT to death, if I had to rank of all promotions of the big promotions that we cover here, NXT, at least for the last 4 or 5 go home shows, for the last 4 or 5 pay-per-views that we had in 2024, and this one here, I unfortunately have to rank them at the bottom, which is crazy because I watch TNA and AEW and WWE, which I always have ups and downs with those too. But NXT over the last couple ones have just metaphorically just crap the bed. I'm like, I know it's a weekly TV show, but you need to get me excited for the pay-per-view. Some stuff did that, but other things I'm like, oh no. Once we get past the pay-per-view, we have to revisit this nonsense, which, looking at you, main event and what happened.
God, don't even get me. Okay,
So we'll get into all of that, but let's talk about some things that we actually like what kicked off our show this week, which was Bailey versus Cora Jade. I love this match. I really, really did. You know, I had to go back and look at the report card and be like, how did I feel about this? I think this ended up being my favorite match of the whole entire episode, which is crazy to think because this is what opened the show. But I immediately knew once this got announced last week that I thought this was going to be a really fun match, and it sure was. I want to give flowers to Bailey because I feel like nobody on the internet is doing that right now. Girl is booked and blessed. She is working almost every single show. And this week she had Raw. She's here on NXT. She has the All-Star game that she's a part of on Saturday or Friday, I should say. And then she is fighting for the NXT Women's Championship in Vengeance Day. I'm like, listen, I love you, Becky. I love you, Charlotte. But if we want to talk about like workhorse of the four, horsewomen of NXT, Bailey is amazing. And I'm glad she is here in NXT. And I have to say, I really like this match. Bailey did great. Cora Jade really did amazing. I also love the Roxanne mind games because it also backfired on her as well. I'm already going to get into my contentious point for this episode, and we're already at, the opening match. I think NXT does a really good job of, making, especially the women, making everyone look great and telling and hitting multiple storylines as well. Because, of course, Bailey at this point is already in the match. Roxanne's out here to try to get Cora the win, but also they're not on the greatest of terms after what happened over the last couple of weeks too. But the match itself was fantastic. Thanks to Roxanne Perez's distraction and Bailey going up to beat her up on the outside, Cora Jade picks up a victory over Bailey, which I love because I know our previous iteration of our NXT team, we always did not like when main roster folks came over and beat the NXT kids, especially if they were champions at the time. But I love that Bailey is never afraid to lose, and if that means putting over somebody else. So I have spoken my piece. I like this match. We will talk about what happened afterwards in a little bit. But Macho, I'm going to come to you first. Bailey versus Cora, opening of NXT this week. What did we think?
I thought this match was phenomenal. I love everything. I gotta say, Cora really sold her ass off. Like her mannerisms, the way she just displays like her pain and stuff in the ring, the way she sold for Bailey, her transitions while she took things, it didn't even feel like she was like a rookie. She's not a rookie. She's a vet, but she's definitely lost time to gain experience because of her knee injury. So she has had a lot of her experience halted. And I always felt like the transition from the skater girl to I don't know what this character is, but I definitely missed the skater version of her. I've always felt like this doesn't really feel like Cora Jade because the skater version, like the AJ Lee kind of person, that's kind of what I look at when I see her, like learning this character throughout. That's what it kind of feels like this is her feeling out process. But in this match, you could tell she was in there with a hero of hers, a coworker, instead of I was in there with someone that I have to walk through this match. Thought that was beautifully done. I love the fact that I agree with you. Love the fact that Bailey is just not afraid to put people over. Like you could tell, like it was just a moment of pride to her to go out there and to just put Cora over the way she did. Love the transition of having Hugger Roxanne come out and in essentially her Halloween costume from a couple years ago. And follow her on social media, this was her Halloween costume because Bailey's actually posted this recently making fun of the both of them, trolling them because they're such big fans of Bailey. And I love that. But I think what was really interesting, and I don't know if you guys caught this, was Roxanne was out there to cost Bailey the match, but at the same time, she wasn't happy that Cora won.
No, in the words of today's kids, I clocked that tease so hard. I was like, oh my God. But that's what I'm talking about. I love that we're hitting on two different things. Of course, Bailey and Roxanne are going back and forth with all of this. But then also we are starting to witness the genesis of the beginning of the fallout between Cora and Roxanne too, not being on the same page. And I love it. It's so much fun. Will, now we come to you with your thoughts. What did you think of the match? And, the Roxanne Cora drama, Bailey Roxanne drama? How do we feel?
I mean, were we watching the same thing? This match was horrible. No, I'm just kidding. This match was amazing.
I was like, you need to leave.
No, I'm just kidding. No, this match was.
I was ready to fight. It was
Oh,
look.
and and I didn't even mind like the distraction stuff. I didn't mind any of it because it was so. And see, this is how, personally, if you're gonna do a match that's gonna have shenanigans in it, this is the way to do it. Because it felt like it was part of the story. It didn't feel like we need to throw shenanigans because that's who we are. But because when Roxanne came out and she's all dressed, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, way to go, girl. I love this. And then, of course, Bailey goes out and whoops her butt. And I was like, this is storytelling. I love this so much. And of course, then I went back and watched it the second time to actually watch them fight because it was amazing. And I had one of my students was in the room, my classroom, who he and I talk wrestling all the time, and he heard me in there screaming at my computer, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm watching the Othello." He's like, "Oh, really?" So he like stood and watched it with me for the end of it for the second time. Then he and I had a conversation about it. But no, this match was on fire. Loved it. So good.
It really was. And again, because of how fun this match was, I was along with you, Will, of, you know what? I think this might break the curse of NXT go home shows. I'm excited to see what else was there. We'll get to that all a little later. But after the match, so again, Cora Jade picks up the victory over Bailey. Cora's excited. Bailey's is in the ring. Roxanne gets into the ring. And Ava comes out. Ava, I apologize, is the only photo I could find, and they did you not in the right lighting, girl. But anyways, Ava comes out, and she, congratulated Bailey and Cora for a really great match. And you know what? Because Cora got a win over Bailey, and she's been doing phenomenal over the last couple of weeks, Ava announces that the NXT Women's title match at Vengeance Day is no longer a triple threat, but now has become a fatal four-way, as Ava has now added Cora Jade into that match. So now it is Julia defending her title against Bailey, Roxanne Perez, and now Cora Jade. And I'm just like, please let this main event. Shawn Michaels, if you know what's good for you, please let this match main event, because I want to see these girls kill it and close out the show. But again, I looked at the facial expressions. I clocked that T so hard because Cora's excited. She's looking at Ava behind her. Bailey is like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Roxanne is terrified because she's like, oh God, now there's more women I have to contend with. And then as soon as Cora turns around, Roxanne, faints like, oh, yay, I'm excited for you. And then Cora's like, oh, hell to the no. And then a brawl breaks out. Again, we're continuing to tell Roxanne and Bailey. I'm really hoping Roxanne goes to the Elimination Chamber so we can see that feud implode in the chamber. But again, Roxanne and Cora are continuing the fallout. So this match at Vengeance Day, in my opinion, and we'll talk about it when we get there, I think is going to continue to have Cora and Roxanne spiral, breakup, fight is going to be great. I love it. Again, this was a perfect way to open the show, and I'm excited for the Fatal 4-Way match. We'll talk about that towards the end. And then I felt stupid because as soon as these two showed up on my screen, I was like, oh no, here we go. So Obafemi comes out, and this is the go home angle where he cuts the promo against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, calling it not a triple threat, but a handicap match because those two are going to need to work together if they ever wish to take down Obafemi, which then prompts, A-Town Down Under to come out and interrupt us. Here's the crazy thing. We've been teasing this breakup between these two on main roster for 6 months now, and I love you, Triple H, but Shawn Michaels has done more with the breakup angle storyline in the 2 weeks that these two have been on here than I've seen on main roster, but I digress. Because both of them are on the same page, and then they kind of fight a little bit of who's going to end up being the one to hold the title. And then they end up both beating Obafemi down, Austin Theory hitting the A-Town down, and then Grayson Waller with his running into the middle of the ring I still think that is way too convoluted of a finisher when he runs and rolls into the ring and then hits. And what is a stunner? I'm like, that's just too much setup for me. I'm sorry. I've never liked that move that Grayson does. And the two of them stand tall over Obafemi to end this segment. Let's be all the way 100. Do I believe that Austin Theory and Grayson Waller have a snowball's chance of winning? No. But you know what? I still think it's going to be a fun match. And if we get to see these two kind of fight in the middle of the match and the breakup starts to grow further, I'm here for it. Macho, I come to you again. What did you think of the segment?
I love the idea that Oba doesn't look at the handicap match as like hindrance to him. He looks at it as you need to team up to beat me. That was like, oh my God, man. If that's not like a slap in the face, I don't know what is. It was just awesome. I gotta say something that I never thought I would say. Grayson Waller looked very small in here. Like, I don't know if it's the way NXT's audience is looking at Austin Theory, but Grayson Waller looks like he maybe doesn't even belong there. Like, I would buy it if it was Austin Theory versus Obafemi. I would buy that as like a traditional one-on-one match. Don't get me wrong, I complimented Grayson Waller on his performance on this show a couple weeks ago, but this right here feels like, man, are you needed? Like, you just feel like you're a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. It's definitely, yeah, his finisher is awful, but it's not as bad as Austin Theory's. Just do the TKO. What is wrong with you? Why do you keep doing it? The way he does his finisher, where it's just like, he drops you on his knee, it looks like a setup move. It doesn't even look like a finish. It's just like, oh my God, if I could just name, I could rattle them off. Like this, the Rosebud, the Oblivion are just so dumb. All of these moves are awful. It's just like, you guys are so like better. Like, I almost feel like Austin Theory could do so many more things, like do a frog splash, whatever. But yeah, this was fine. I thought this was a really good segment. I thought the start and this were the two best parts of the entire show.
Yeah, because we're gonna get into it in a little bit. Will, what did you think of 8-Town Down Under and Obafemi's final promo before Vengeance Day?
Well, you mean these two jagoffs talked and talked the whole damn time. And Oba just stood there looking at him like, you guys are stupid. And I was like, yes, Oba, I agree with you. I was literally standing off to his left going, Oba, they're idiots. And yes, he agreed. But no, it was a fun promo. I did enjoy it. And so I was like, yeah. And these two are such idiots, absolute idiots. And I think that's what I like about them. And I also hate about them. They're idiots.
You love to hate that they're idiots.
Yeah. So they play them well. Because I literally am like, I hate both of you. So you're playing your characters well. So well played, sir. So yeah, I enjoyed this, and I agree. The opening match, and then it just fell apart after that.
And then we spiral into the madness. So mark this at 25 minutes, y'all, because this is the part of the show I was just like, oh, okay. Listen, I have nothing against Eddie Thorpe. I love me, Eddie. I love Trick. I'm just going to put this out there, or I'm going to combine all the stuff together because of everything going on in NXT right now. And this is going to be so bad to say. I forgot that Eddie got involved in Trick's rematch. I forgot about that. And apparently so did NXT. But the second thing that came to mind, I'm like, is that the strap that Dijak beat up Eddie Thorpe with when they were feuding too? I was like, what is this? Anyways.
Also, why do we have the minorities whipping each other?
Oh, don't even get me started, because the undertones was there, and I'm just like, this is getting wild for me. I know some people are like, why would you bring that up? Because it is a Native American person and an African American wrestler whipping each other. I'm like, it's Black History Month, y'all. What are we doing? But anyways, Eddie Thorpe challenges Trick Williams in this promo to a strap match at Vengeance Day. And I'm combining this later because as they are building the steel cage for the main event, Trick accepts the match. So we are getting a strap match between these two. To me, this feud does not warrant a strap match in my head. And you know what? This is just my prerogative, the way I think. Strap matches are one of the few matches I was like, this needs to be, because these two absolutely hate each other. Like, you have the opportunity to smack another person with a leather strap. Like, and I try not to bring up other companies, And even though the pacing and the accidental Danielson of the Bryans bleeding out in that match, the Ricky Starks Bryan Danielson strap match to me was warranted because we had been building these two to fight and kill each other. Danielson bleeding was a lot to watch, but even still, it was crazy. This does not give me the same vibes, nor does it. Like, these two have not done enough for me for this type of match to be warranted. So I love Eddie. I love Trick. But if I'm ranking all 6 matches we're getting at Vengeance Day, this is the least I'm excited about because it's the least amount of build we had. And this type of match is not warranted for the story we have been told so far. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm actually going to go to Will on this one because Will, we have seen the evolution of Eddie, from him feuding with Dijak and the undertones that was of a white man beating up on the Native American to now Eddie Thorpe and this weird story of him wanting the strap match with Trick. Where did we go wrong?
I don't know what the heck they're doing. I don't understand. Eddie Thorpe, and I love Eddie Thorpe, and I think he's a great wrestler, and I think that he needs the right storyline, and they are giving him the shittiest storyline. They're making him always out to be the victim instead of the hero of the story. And he has the potential of being the hero of the story. And see, in this promo, I don't like him. It's like, Eddie, what the hell's going on, dude? You're getting dark, and I'm not here for that because it doesn't make any sense. Now, if it made sense, like this whole thing between him and Trick doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it feels like, we don't want to lose Eddie, but we have nothing to do with Trick because, he doesn't belong here anymore. He needs to go to the main roster. So what do? Oh, I know. Let's just throw them together and create some kind of tension between them. And this whole thing, we saw this already. Like we said, with him and Dijak, we've already seen this storyline. We don't need this anymore, and I don't know. I was so frustrated watching it because, I was like, oh, Eddie Thorpe, yay. And then it was like, what the hell? What is going on? I was in the previous iteration of Eddie Thorpe. He was so inspiring. His character was like, I'm going to overcome this. I'm coming for you. You did this to me. I'm going to show you who I am. I'm the strong human being that I am, both mentally, physically. I mean, and I was like, yes. It's like, I have no respect for you at this point. I literally don't give a crap about this match. And I hate because I like both of these wrestlers, but this makes no sense. And now, if this was the beginning of something, and then we weren't going to get anything at Vengeance Day, and we were going to get it maybe at the next pay-per-view, then that makes more sense to me. Because then we have more time to build whatever this is supposed to be. But this literally feels like we have nothing. We don't know what to do with these two. So let's just throw them together and make something happen.
Honestly, we could have had a couple of weeks. And I'm going to say this. We didn't need 6 matches for Vengeance Day. We could have been fine with the 5 that we had gotten and take some time to build this. And I would have loved to see this match like at Roadblock in March. Like, I think the TV special, this could be a fun match.
Yeah.
But again, Will, I agree with you. I feel like they saw Trick. They're like, oh, crap. We need to put Trick on the pay-per-view somehow. Eddie, there's some semblance of a story where you attack Trick during his match. But let's put you two together. NXT, I love you. And I don't use this term lightly, but this is lazy booking. I do not like it. Anyways, I apologize. Macho, what are your thoughts on this whole entire conversation?
Feel about this entire program, like what I said about Cora Jade's new character. I feel like this is NXT trying new stuff with Trick and Eddie. Because I said last week, I don't like this new Trick. I don't like the evolution of him being like, oh, I'm a badass now. Like, I'm sorry, bro. You just look like you're a party dude. Like, you look like somebody who enjoys life. You love being a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't you. You're not Bailey, who can lead the hugger and be the role model. You're a baby face. Now, when I watch Eddie, I tried to think of it as like, I don't know if you guys watched Yellowstone or any like 1883 and things like that. But 1883 specifically, the way the Native Americans are represented in that show. But I agree, like a strap match is supposed to be the end of a feud. Like, you're talking to a 40-year-old man who grew up watching on repeat Thing versus Vader's like 4 corners match with that strap. That is my all-time favorite strap match. Watching them just like, and Sting loses that match. Spoiler alert. People don't know the match was over 30 years ago. But, like that match, it meant something to me. Like when you have a strap match, it's brutal. It's like you have no other way to end it. That's it. You can't start a feud with an ending stipulation. I don't understand this whole thing. It just feels like they're trying stuff and they're doing it with the 2 worst characters because they already had good stuff going. Like you guys said, like Will, I've heard you mention on multiple occasions now, like how inspirational a guy like Eddie is. And you can still be a heel because, like if that's what they wanted to be as a heel, that's fine. Be a heel. Like, most of this country would look at him as like heel anyway. That's how they view things like him. You know what I mean? So it's like you can still represent him that way. And then to some of us, like for me, like there's a lot of Native Americans in my culture, and I view them as like, this is great. I don't like this for either one of them. And I don't think they have good chemistry in the ring. I don't think so. Like if it's not for Oba, that match is awful. Like I don't know, man. I'm just not looking forward to this.
No, I mean, I think they're trying to use the strap match to kind of hide. And I love Trick. I love you, but he's so, I don't know. It's really tough because I like Trick and I like Eddie, but this is not the match for that.
I don't think they should be fighting.
No, no,
I don't
they
think
should
they
not.
should be fighting.
No, so they should not. And then we just kept going because it wasn't until maybe I was just dumb and I'm stupid. But like, we didn't explicitly say that this was number 1 contender vibes match. And then it's because of Fraxium at the very end. I was like, oh, so this is how. Oh, okay. So that's how we're getting this match at Vengeance Day. That's cool, I guess. So we have a triple threat tag team match, which sees our boys in the jorts, Hank and Take, versus no quarter catch crew of Miles, Miles, and Tavion Heights. And then finally, what I've been asking for, but I feel like the train kind of almost left the station with this one, because I wanted to see what Josh Briggs and our, Noah represented. So pro wrestling Noah represented in, Inashiki Nomura. I was just like, Yoshiki Nomura, and I'm just like, okay, let's see what they can do. By the end of this match, while I thought this was decent, I couldn't help but think, damn, I miss the Wolf Dogs so bad right now. Look, the NXT men's division is struggling, and I might be projecting here, but this NXT men's tag team division is also kind of struggling too. For me, Fraxium has pretty much cleared through this division. And I mean, granted, we're getting Briggs, Briggs and Inamura are a new kind of team, though NXT has not done a great job of building them up, in my opinion. But spoiler alert, Briggs and Inamura pick up the victory here. From the Crow's Necks, we get Frack, who give flowers to the two and grant them a title match at Vengeance Day. And I'm just like, oh, damn. Well, if I can just request a championship match, I'll just ask. Sure. Sorry, I'm getting nitpicky. I hate when championship matches are given if it doesn't make sense in a story-wise. I feel like championship matches need to be earned in some capacity, or if you're dastardly devilish, then you can force your way into a match. I'm cool with either or. Again, this was like, oh crap, we got to build a Vengeance Day card. Let's have a triple threat match by not calling it a number 1 contenders match when our champions grant the winners a match at Vengeance Day. Okay, I got to calm down here. Macho and Will, you both know how important booking is to me and making logical sense of a story. Do I think this match is going to be fun? Absolutely. Listen, I feel like Josh Briggs has not got enough, because his triple threat match with Dijak and Obafemi at Stand and Deliver last year was amazing. Loved it. It was great. And even then, I had no faith in Briggs once they broke up the tag team. But if you're going to have these two face Frack, we should have spent the last couple of weeks having them be shown as a force to be reckoned with and then earn an opportunity. Technically, they did by winning this match, but we did not call this a number 1 contenders match. And what have the other 2 teams done to deserve this quote-unquote unspoken number 1 contenders match either? This is wild. I think the match is going to be fun at Vengeance Day. But this match itself was decent. It was okay. I just hate the story and the booking that's leading to this tag team championship match at Vengeance Day. Macho, am I crazy or like what? What is happening in this tag team division?
Well, I hated this match. I was not a fan. I have two very strong opinions on this match. One of them is just a absolute wonder of a surprise. Bad is Josh Briggs might be the worst wrestler in the entire company. Like watching that man work. I mean, what was that thing was he trying to do like the Claymore when he was running to the corner? He couldn't even jump. He jumped like a foot off the ground to try to do like a big boot to the face. I was like, what is this? And he's doing it as like his big comeback, like his big like heat moment. I'm like, what the is this? My wonder of a surprise is I have yet to see anything that has made me like think that Tavion Heights isn't going to be a WrestleMania main event. This man is just, oh my God. Every single time I see this guy, I'm just like, so every time they come out, I hear that freaking song. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. This match is just not it for me. I could just watch next time. Just give me Tavion Heights suplex and beat. That's it. Like, just that's all I need.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up because me and Will have gotten the privilege to have seen Tavion, in different aspects because, again, he's in NXT. And Will, if we remember from Slammiversary last year in TNA, he was the best part of that whole entire, it's crazy to say, but he was the best part of that whole 3-on-3 between the Rascals, which was Wes, Trey Miguel, and Zachary Wentz taking on Tavion, Miles, and Charlie Dempsey in that 3-on-3 match. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, Wes is going to be a Tavion surprised the hell out of me. I was like, when is this Tavion in NXT? And then when they sent him to compete in the Pro Wrestling Noah tournament that Josh Briggs was also part of, Tavion did pretty well and the matches were pretty solid. And then he gets back to NXT. I'm like, where is this Tavion that I saw those two instances? What is happening? Look, if we paid a little bit of attention and we built him up, I still believe with a little more work that I want to see No Quarter Catch Crew, more specifically Miles and Tavion, be the ones to dethrone Frax. The Frax team have been so dominant and you really haven't built any of these other teams up. We're struggling to make me believe that Frax team is eventually going to lose their titles at subcapacity. And when we get to Vengeance Day, I'm going to talk about my fear because I could 100% believe that NXT, as much as I love Shawn Michaels, could pull an ass pull and something happens where titles change hands. And that better not be the case, but I digress. Well, we have been in this mixture with these teams the last couple of months. Like, how did we feel about this quote unquote? Not really, but kind of a number one contenders match.
I felt this match was completely unnecessary. I felt that it was a waste of talent. I don't think they utilize them right. Now, let's talk about Tavion, shall we? He needs a better partner. He needs someone who is more complementary to his style. I mean, don't get me wrong, Miles is awesome. I like him too. But they either need to find him a stronger partner or he needs to break away from the No Quarter Catch Crew and be a single event fighter. Because he's way too good to be held back by these guys. I mean, seriously. And and you were mentioning, he's like, where's this Tavion? It's because when he comes to No Quarter Catch Crew, he has to pull back. Because he's the better of that group. And, you can't show up, Dempsey, and you can't please do, because I can't stand the guy. But Tavion should be out in the front. They should be pushing him out in anything and everything they get. Like, No Quarter Catch Crew, like, Tavion, you're fighting tonight. Like, he was and I agree, he was the thing to watch in this match. And don't get me wrong, I love Hank. They're just cute little guys and they're just fun. He needs someone who will complement him. He needs a tag team partner that they'll just click instantaneously. And it's sort of like the Rascals. That's the one things I love about the Rascals is that they are so in sync with each other that they know exactly what the other one's doing before they even do it.
Well, on top of that too, as well, really quickly, before I give it to my little evil thought, the four of them, which was Wes, Zach, Trey, and then of course Myron, who is more on the independent scene, you can interchange any of the Rascals in a tag team, and the four of them know how to utilize their styles and all that stuff. And speaking of, tag team partners, my evil thought is now I don't know how Styles would complementary, but Lord have mercy, I think it would be a fun story to tell if you pair like a Tavion who is very traditionalist in his style with the suplexes and like Greco background, as Macho said, and put him with a wild card because those tend to work out when you put him with somebody who is kind of a Miles. Listen, this is probably not the correct booking, but I don't care. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. Tavion and a Javon would be kind of fun to see where it went. Or if you want him to be more serious, I would honestly, I would put Tavion right now with Wes and Tyreek and Tyson. Like, listen, I'm here for more black excellence. Or go push Tavion to be a single star too. Like, there are so many avenues. There's so many options. I hated this.
I know. I think Tavion, he could be a champion.
Yes, 1000%. I just off the top of my head, I was just thinking if you want to give him a veteran presence, right? And there are two ways you could go. I feel like this guy is one of those guys that he can come in, they could take him off of NXT, send him to the main roster. And I feel like you can put him with a veteran. Let the veteran kind of groom him in front of everyone's eyes. There are two people that I feel like are right away would make sense for him. Based on what we've seen in the past, I would put him with Finn Balor.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
Yes! I am here for this.
Because you know why? Because it reminds me of the world's greatest tag team. Like you have like a Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin. And if he can talk, he could be everything they wanted Gable Stevenson to be. He could be everything they wanted Shelton Benjamin to be. Don't get me wrong, Shelton's great. Like they just gave him too much, like the mama gimmick and everything. Gold Standard was just crap. But he can be that star that they wanted Jason Jordan to. Jason Jordan's great. He was great before his neck injury. I loved him on the mic. I loved everything he did. He can be that good. Give him one of those veteran guys. Don't give him a newbie. And you're right. This Channing Tatum wannabe that he's with right here, this guy who looks like Magic Mike, I feel like he does bring him down. And the reason I just want to point that maybe I just can give you guys an opinion. You guys could run with it before we move on. You know why I think he does better in these like triple threat tag matches? Because they're so convoluted that he doesn't have to hold back. I just have to suplex people. I can be athletic because in these matches, there's really no story. It's just like, hey, let's just go out there. Let's have fun. This is supposed to be a fun match. But when he's just doing straight tag teams, he can't overshadow his partner. You know what I mean? That's probably like them telling him. It's like the guy Jado who does like the J Cup and stuff in Japan, right? Like the guy, like he used to say this about Kenny Omega. Like Kenny used to want to do all the shit he did in AEW. Like, oh, I'm just going to be off the wall crazy. And Jado would pull him back. He'd be like, no, man, like you don't need to do that here. You don't. And I wonder if WWE tells him the same thing. Like, hey, you don't need to do that here. We'll let you know when you can go off like that. We'll save that stuff for PLEs. And the problem is he's too young for that. Like that was Kenny Omega. Like he's already the cleaner, he's already been the guy who wrestled. We need to see, and we're not watching it. Like it's not fair to stop him the way they're doing it.
Preach it, brother Macho. Preach it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, fans who are watching, the show does not get better from here. Well, I mean, there's some good stuff, but again, we get another match made for Vengeance Day. I can't believe I'm saying this. JDC, you deserve better. Okay, this is what made me mad about this match. Spoiler alert, Lexus King retains his Heritage Cup. Cool, fine. Figured he was going to. I didn't think that JDC of the system and TNA was going to take that cup over to TNA. And maybe it's just me and I'm being a little brat about it. But what do you mean that he's getting rid of how the Heritage Cup rules work? Like, what? I'm sorry. I call BS. And I'm like, hell nah. Look, I know for me and like the three other people that watch NXT UK religiously, like that Heritage Cup was such a unique idea and like paid homage to how British style of wrestling goes and how, old school British wrestling does with the rules. And then once again, colonizers ruined it for everybody. Like, holy crap. I was so mad. I also did not like this match.
Can I just say they should just get rid of the Heritage Cup? I know, but because it has not been the same since Nomar lost it. Because even Nomar, at least he was like,
He made it
he
exciting.
was
No,
silly and
I
fun.
miss Noam Dar so much. I need him to come back.
I mean, he took it seriously. Yeah, he was a clown and he was funny, but he took it seriously. Ever since he lost it, it has lost all meaning because nobody takes it seriously anymore. Nobody wants to do that style of wrestling, which is ridiculous because it's actually really a lot of fun because it's so different that it kind of mixes up the bag. And I love it. I love it when they do it traditional, like the traditional. I remember when I first got introduced to it, I was like, well, this is neat. I love this. Look, can we have more of this? I mean, it was so neat. And Lex King, it's not about the cup, it's about him. So why even have it? I mean, honestly. And I agree with you. I think JDC deserves way better than this.
Which is crazy to say. I was just like, as much as we take a poo-poo on him during the TNA and the whole system, I was like,
yeah. And now
you actually deserve better. Oh my gosh.
I think they need to get that cup out of his hands. Either get rid of it or go back to its root. I wish no one would come back and just take it and make it.
Or like I've been saying this, and Andrew, our previous NXT host, said it. If you turn the NXT Cup into what the X Division Championship is in TNA, where somebody can cash in for a championship match, and then you can have it like a quick tournament to determine the new Heritage Cup winner. I'm just saying. Macho, I see you contemplating over there. What did you have to say about the greatest spray-on beard ever?
Okay, so I've expressed my opinions on, Pillman Jr. here. And I'm not calling him this Lexus King because I don't like that name. But here's the problem I have with this. I don't think he's a good enough wrestler for that Heritage Cup. The Heritage Cup is like a European style. It is quite literally like all holds available, right? That I think the wrestling term is catch can wrestling. And man, he doesn't do it. So I feel like what he's doing, and I love that you brought up Noam so much because of the both of you did, because I think this is the intention. This is what I think is happening. I think he is going to diminish the Heritage Cup so much that when he ultimately says this is trash and pulls like a Shane Douglas, boom, Noam's music hits, he comes out, the crowd pops, he wins it back. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. That's just fantasy booking. That's how I would do
that's
it.
the case.
That's the way I play.
Just something about this feels off. It doesn't feel like this is the story. It doesn't. To me, I don't see Sean as the type of person that would put so much stock into something like this Heritage Cup to just have someone just completely treat it like WCW did with the TV title, where Scott Hall just throws it in the trash. I just don't see that. And I feel like this is the story. Should we just be patient? Because I don't watch Brian as one of these guys that's like, hey man, I'm a really good wrestler. No, you are not, guy. You are not. You are one more wrestling move away from me asking for Hook versus Wheeler Yuta. You need to not what is going on right now, but I am watching him regress in such a way. At least with Charlie Dempsey's a good worker, so it's okay. He's not his dad, clearly, but he's a better worker. But here you're wrestling Fandango, and Fandango's never been as a great worker. He's a classic, brawler. He's just a wrestler. You know what I mean? Just like a classic wrestler. He's got the 80s, 90s moveset. He's not really going to be one of these guys who's going to go out there and he's going to wow you with his technical ability and storytelling. So, how do you not make this match fun? This Fandango wrestles his style. They both worked the same style, and they couldn't get me invested in this match. It was just complete and utter garbage. I was just like, my God, the best part of this match was your beard.
Oh my goodness. When I'm saying that Mr. JDC, formerly known as Fandango, deserves better because in TNA, he's punchy bag for his faction and we don't like them. But I was like, damn, man, you deserve better. This match, I don't want to talk about this. This was not great. I hate this. I'm happy.
I think I have to say one thing if it's permittable. What is going on? I'm sorry. Nikita's only on TV for one reason, right? Because
Hey, you know
what about her makes you think that she's developed enough that she shouldn't be on the show debuting on Friday? Like,
True.
go to LFG and learn from those veterans, because whatever you are doing in the ring,
it's
like, I don't
not
know, are they
working.
looking at it like, oh, she's got the mixed martial arts background, she's got the martial arts, she's great. Yeah,
Where is it?
like Zarya is supposed, like, she's supposed to be like one of the future big three, and you
Don't put
put
her-
her in there
Yeah.
with someone who hasn't worked a good match. Like, I can't remember a single Nikita match where I was like, yo, she's got some talent.
No. Can I be honest? I would take Nikita out. I want to see a Zarya Lash Legend feud. Like, so behind. That would be fantastic. I am happy that Zarya won, but I don't want to talk about this match anymore.
I'd like to see Zarya fight Stephanie.
Yes! Eventually we will get there, and I am so excited.
Yeah, but
But
we
yeah,
can pass the rest of those.
yeah, we're done. I don't want to talk about this no more. The revolution will be televised. Yeah, I got when you texted that Macho, when he's like Ricky Starks is on television. We announced it in the middle of our AEW review. I'm like, holy crap, we're reviewing AEW, and then this happens. Hold up.
Well, that seems proper. I would just like to say, and I'll let you guys like give your stuff if that's okay. I am very nervous. CM Punk didn't call him Ricky Starks in his tweet, and he goes against the grain. This man built this name. He is not Walter. This dude is way too mainstream now. I mean, when he torched Edge in the middle of the ring, everybody knew who he was at that moment, because it was like, yo, he just went toe to toe with Adam Copeland, and then the reactions from Adam Copeland was almost like, like, I love everything. It's just great. I'm excited for him. He deserves it.
No, I agree with you. When they weren't mentioning him as Ricky, or even just mentioning his first name, not even the full Ricky Starks. When they weren't mentioning Ricky, I'm like, okay, I'm a little worried. But you know what? Whatever it is, I'm still going to support him. Why? So I used to be such a big tribalistic hater, where while not on stream, I cried off camera after the Defy Wrestling pay-per-view event, because I finally got to see Ricky Stark outside of Hog wrestle again. And that's what I want for Ricky. I want him to be able to wrestle. I just want him to be in a place where he's happy to be there and he wants to do the things. Also, eventually, I need to see him and Ethan Page fight, because that is something I've been wanting for so long and it just never happened. But now, let's do it. And now I turn it over to Will, who has absolutely no idea who this man is, which I love.
Okay, I can honestly tell you my first impressions is I don't like the guy. And second impression is he reminds me of an emaciated Johnny Bravo. Now, the guy up to now, with that being said, I have not seen him do anything yet. This is just my first impression. That's it. Once he gets in the ring and I see what he can do, then I'll probably have a very strong opinion about him. But right now I'm like, that's what he came off as. I was just like, oh wow. I was like, already. And he literally looks like an emaciated Johnny Bravo. Sounds like
I
it.
love that. I am so excited.
But
So,
I'm excited to see what he's got. So I'm excited for him to change my mind.
Is he gonna turn into like, where are we gonna go?
And the funny thing about it is that I was like, oh well, let me go look up his stuff. Let me go check him out. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let him decide my direction. So when I see him officially like wrestling and doing his thing, then I'll let that kind of guide me one way or the other, because I like doing, seeing new people. I used to go back and like watch their stuff and be like, ooh, let me check them out. And I'm like, you know what? No, it's your job to make me like you. So I'm not going to watch your past shit. I'm going to make you need to work for it, man.
smell a thesis. Listen, I could write a whole psychology thesis on here. I am going to put a pin in this, because we're going to turn this into a documentary at some point. Be like, oh my gosh, Macho, we find ourselves in a very fun position to see, because me and you are familiar with Mr. Starks here. I'm excited to see Will organically having to be won over or not won over in either direction. And I am fine either way, because this is going to be a fun journey. Holy crap. This is amazing. Stand and deliver. Here we come. Just kidding. Well, who knows? That might still be on the table. Anyways, so we get this quick backstage segment with Stephanie and Julia wishing each other good luck in their matches at Vengeance Day. And I'm like, this might be not appropriate to say, but I am preparing the sweat rag for when these two collide for that championship because the world is not ready. Well, actually, no, the world is ready. I don't think American audiences are quite ready for how much these two are going to brutalize each other. But I'm excited. We'll talk more about them when we get to our Vengeance Day. I was like, yes, this is amazing. Why? NXT and steel cage matches I have a love-hate relationship with them. Sometimes they're great. But the last couple ones have been gone are dog doo-doo. I hated the end, not the ending of what happened after the match. I hated the actual ending of the match. I was like, what? It came out of no. Oh my God, I hated it so much. Steel cage matches are supposed to be the finality of things. Again, this is also a feud that does not need a steel cage match. So Rich gets the steel cage match because he attacked Stax. I'm like, listen, Stax has a punchable face. I'm just going to put it at that. Like, he didn't attack the Don. He didn't attack Tony D to warrant this. It's because it was like, it's the go home show. Main event, a steel cage, let's go.
Well, again, it felt like, what can we do with Ridge? Oh, that's not, what's with Don up to? Oh, I know what, let's just throw them in a random ass cage match. Everyone's going to get excited about that because it's a cage match. And it's like, it wasn't enjoyable.
Again, just like I said about the strap match, I'm not going to go too much into it, but steel cage matches to me need to be the finality of, oh, I've been wanting to get my hands on you. We've been fighting for weeks or months. Like, I hate you. You hate me. Let's settle this in a steel cage match. This feud does not warrant it. And the ending was just so lackluster. I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating. Also, I don't know if it's the lighting or anything, but I don't know what is his natural hair color. But Rich Holland, we need the beard to match the hair on top of your head. Because I'm like kind of blondish on top, like total dye job jet black down there. I'm like, sir, I need you to get it together. Now, the one positive about this thing is I'm a fashion person. I kind of like how Tony is dressing in his ring gear now with the straps and the vest. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. This was just not fun for me to watch. And the ending of the actual match really sucked the life out of it. I was like, damn, man. I was just like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd rather take Trick and Mello's cage match. And that one wasn't good either. I'd rather take that one over this one. Man, Macho, like, where did we go wrong? Like, what is this?
I texted you guys as soon as this match was over. Now, full disclosure, I texted you before Sean Spears came out because I hadn't seen that yet. So it was before the Izzy stuff. I thought this match was solid, but the last 45 seconds of this match made it so bearable to me. It was How I Met Your Mother. Like, that finale of How I Met Your Mother might be the worst finale I've ever seen in the history of like me watching television. And this was, dude, you clotheslined him with a crowbar. You hit him in the back of the head with a crowbar. That's the end of the match. Like, is D'Angelo superhuman now? Because he hit you once with the crowbar, and then he hit you with his spike, sponsor, right? Like, I'm assuming that's where he got the finish from, because that's only Farouk does it that way. Ron Simmons. And that's it, he pins you. And I'm just like, I'm going to say something negative about Shawn Michaels here. Please bear with me, because I've made it very clear I think he's the greatest ever. Ridge Holland has to be his biggest fumble to date. How you take this man that you give him this gift of taking a very popular group and being the sole reason why it no longer exists. That heat that you give him for that. And then he hasn't won a match since. He's just been jobbing everyone. Yeah, he's in the main event, but like, it doesn't look like he's going to actually be, a champion of any kind. I don't know what's going on with what they're doing with him. And yeah, I don't get it. Now like whatever's going on with Tony D'Angelo and his little, like the guy with the Patrick Mahomes hair that's on his team. I don't know his name. It's just like, what's going on right here? Like, that was so weird. Like, what a great way to mess with the group. Like, oh, he takes the crowbar from Izzy. He throws it in himself. That should have cost him the match. Like, what are we doing? Where's the storytelling? This was just like Godfather 3. Like, it was just like, it was just unnecessary. Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Godfather 3 was far better than this was.
Ooh, damn. fight. Okay. That is very fair. Well, let's just keep it going because if the ending of the actual match made me mad, raise your hand if you saw this turn happening coming from a mile away. Here, okay, so maybe it's because I've watched way too much wrestling in the last 7 years that I've been following this like hardcore wise. But as soon as we've been doing weeks of Izzy Dame, like, you know, getting on the Don's good side and not owing him any favors, and then, helping him out last time, and then throwing the crowbar in. I'm just like, she's going to betray him. She's going to be a secret agent. She is the mole. And so howdy it has, because we don't even have a name for Sean Spears' little group. But they attack the family. They attack the Don. So we might be getting this little faction on faction warfare for a little bit with, I want to keep an open mind because it does give Tony D'Angelo like an actual feud for the North American Championship, which I feel like he's been missing for a little bit now. But you have not made me care about Sean Spears and his little faction. Like, I do not care. Like, I have gotten no origin story. I have gotten like the hook as to what they're about, instead of just Sean Spears being very weird and waxing poetic ever so often. Like, if we think about it, from when he came into NXT with the crazy vignettes of all like the self-help book-esque like writing in his entrance, and then he goes into this, I'm like, we already had one cult with Joe Gacy was the leader of the Schism. Is this what we're trying to do again? Because if so, I want to take Joe Gacy over this faction any day. Oh my gosh, again. If you don't give me character motivation, or you don't give me a hook for me to care, because the presentation of everybody involved so far has not been great, you're asking me as the fan to give you a lot of faith that you're going to turn this group into something. And I'm sorry. I was a big fan of the chairman character in AEW, despite how he's being utilized. I have a soft spot for the Perfect 10 himself, but I do not like this current character. I don't like, the squad he has. Listen, Izzy, I love you, girl, but you have not done enough in NXT for me to be like, damn, it's like an Ivy Nile situation. She's about to whoop everybody's ass. Like, no. Have a new NXT recruit who is now part of this faction, which I'm here for the experience, but don't care about him. But the biggest mystery, and I'm like, what the wank are we doing? Is Josh Briggs' former tag team partner. I'm like, bro, we have fumbled you so hard that we've thrown you every which way.
I don't know. Sean Spears annoys me because it's 2025. Be a stay-at-home dad and send your wife to work.
Listen, if the reports are true and we get the Iconics back, or the Inspiration as they're going by now, yes, please. Anyways, continue.
Just, yes. Give me Peyton and Billy back ASAP. Get out of here, bro. And I don't need you. I don't need your group. I'm not a fan of Izzy. Don't think she provides anything. She'd probably be a good valet. She's probably going to be good at that. I don't know if she's a good worker, so I guess we'll find that out soon. I don't understand what's going on with this Walmart Sami Zayn here. And, it's just like, not interested. Not at all. And I think they're actually doing harm to Tony. They're making, you know what? I was just thinking about this. They're turning him into like the middle of seasons of Tony Soprano, the one where like everybody's undermining him and he's finally going to have to snap, where he beats up that muscle bound guy. I don't know if you guys watch this, but there's a portion of that show where like everybody's undermining Tony Soprano and, he's obviously the boss. And then he starts getting his anxiety starts riding up. And then he they're all like, drinking, acting a fool in like the basement that they're in. This big muscle bound dude literally does nothing to Tony, and Tony just beats him to a bloody pulp, like to show his like grit that I'm still the boss here, right? And it's like, are we just getting to that? Because it feels like, just like I feel like he's supposed to be the next big star. Like I'm expecting him. The way a story kind of sells to me. Like I know what I was saying that I want Oba to do is just run through and then just relinquish the title. But the way you've kind of presented it to me is like Tony's going to be the guy to be the next NXT champion. He's going to drop this title. He's going to go after the NXT title. Oba's going to go up, and Tony's going to be the face of the NXT division. But not off of this crap. You can't have him get beat up by, like, Sean Spears. Like, oh my God. Wasn't his arm in a sling last week? This is just weird.
Yeah, it is. Ugh, I need mouthwash to wash the taste out of this whole thing out of my mouth. Then, of course, we end with this tease of this mysterious group, which may or may not appear at Vengeance Day. So I want to like this, but I'm just like, I don't know. Well, so that does bring us to the end of NXT, but we are not done quite yet. Oh no. So enjoy this little dance break as we prepare to dive into our predictions for Vengeance Day.
Yeah, here we go.
Now that you got the wiggles out, let's get into this. So 6 matches for Vengeance Day, which is happening this Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So I might get to enjoy a little late lunch while I watch this thing. They kept changing the time because originally it said 4 and now it's 3. So I was like, listen, I'm not complaining if I can get out at like 6 p.m. Pacific. Like, we're good. So as I like to do here with our predictions, I like to put the matches that we have in the order that I would. And you know what? If you disagree with me, that is okay. I am up to it. But why do I put them in that order? Because it is our show and not yours. I'm just kidding. That sounded pretentious. I'm so sorry. Like, holy crap, that was bad. So I had sent out a form to my constituents earlier in the day, and we're going to go through our picks as to, who we think is going to be walking out of Vengeance Day, the winners. So, in my head, what I think should open the show is our NXT Women's North American Championship match. I think you need to have a strong opening, and what better way to get Miss Stephanie Verker to be on the opener? So, the beautiful thing about being the creator of the Google form is I get to see everyone's picks. And at the time that I looked at it, it was just me and Macho who had our picks, and we are divided because I think that if we're going to give Stephanie this title, I think that the numbers game of fatal influence is still going to be a pain in the keister for Stephanie. So I have picked Fallon to retain, but I think this is not the only time these two will interact. I think Stephanie will ultimately get her victory over Fallon. But in this encounter, I have Fallon retaining. I want so much more than anything for Stephanie to walk out as champion, and I would not be opposed to losing a point for her to do so. But I don't think that this is going to be the encounter for her to win. So I have Fallon retaining here, which is crazy. These two, outside of Stephanie having that little interaction with Julia, we didn't even get any Fallon thing on this show. Oh, no, we did. Never mind. It was a backstage segment, but it was more focused on Kalani and Jordan. Kalani and Jada fighting. And then Ashante the Adonis stuck his nose into it. I was like, ew, get away. Anyways, so I have picked Fallon Henley. Macho, I kind of buried the lead and kind of told the audience who'd you pick. But why don't you tell us who you got in this one?
I got Stephanie Verker winning match thanks to Tatum, Gigi, and Otzi. I believe that the numbers game will come into play, but I think the sick girls are going to come out. That's what I'm calling them because it's kind of cool. I think the sick girls are going to come out and they're going to even up the odds. And that's when Stephanie, wraps this thing up. I think that they're going to, I said it when they happened, but 2 days ago, the WWE shop released the Stephanie Verker t-shirt. Shit, by the way. Yeah, I was just like, yup. They're putting the rocket on her. Let's go. Let's get her up there. Her performance in the Rumble. They're putting the title on her. And I do see title versus title here.
Love Julia. It. Alrighty. Will, you are our tiebreaker. I have gone with Fallon. Macho has gone with Stephanie. Whose side are you on this one? No one. Just kidding.
I'm torn on this one.
Truly, it could go 50-50.
Because when I saw it, I was like, okay, I could see Fallon retaining because fatal influence. Absolutely. JCJ, she's gonna interfere in some way or another. It's gonna happen. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then I was like, well, if she does interfere, does that get the win for Fallon, or does that cause her to lose, and therefore we have a disruption in the force, and and Stephanie wins. Then I could see Stephanie coming in and kicking Fallon's ass. I mean, I don't know. So I'm very torn on this one. I know who I want to win, and that would be Stephanie. So if I go with my I want to win, then it's Stephanie.
Love it. So again, I would not be mad of losing a prediction point if Stephanie walks out as champion because I think she is more than ready to do so. Moving on to our next match. The fact that this match does not have any stipulation yet is kind of crazy to me because when I think Vengeance Day, this match and this story we've gotten should have some sort of stipulation to it. But we have Javon Evans versus all ego and all psychotic Ethan Page. Crazy enough, I've been really digging the story we've been telling with these two. And, this has been like an actually long feud that is taking place at this pay-per-view. Again, I am torn because I think Ethan Page could win here because he's been doing great work. But because Ethan has been destroying competitors, he's been destroying Javon every chance he gets. I think Javon could win this one, but again, this one's 50-50, but I'm sticking with my pick. I have gone with Javon Evans on this one. Macho, who you have for this one?
I got all ego here, Ethan Page. I agree. It is not because I like him more, because John's really growing on me. I think the same thing you do. I think this is like one of three. And personally, to me, this is the best program that NXT has going right. And I don't want it to end. So I think this is to help Javon get to that next level. And if you have him win right off the bat, it doesn't do anything.
No. So again, if Ethan wins, I'd be fine with it. What I would love to see if this is a trilogy, Ethan wins here, Javon wins at Roadblock, Javon ultimately wins at Stand and Deliver. Like, that could be fun. So, Will, once again, you are caught in the middle. Who you got?
Well, I hate him, but I can't believe I went against Javon, but it's because I agree. I mean, in my own looking at it, I agree with Macho on it. I think that it's one of three. I really do. And I think which is a great, because it makes him an underdog, which makes us want to root for him even more, because it's like, oh, he's been injured. We want him to come back from it. We want him to get in there and kick Ethan's ass, so, but I went with Ethan Page, even though I can't stand the guy. I went with him because I think this is, and I agree. I don't think Javon's there yet.
That is very fair. Again, I can't believe that there's no stipulation for this at Vengeance Day, but you know what? I still think it's going to be a fun match. Alrighty. So from here, this is where I would put the tag team match. Again, so I went with Fraxium to retain because every time I bet against them, they always end up retaining the tag titles anyways. But I don't want to believe that Shawn Michaels would do an ass pull and give the championships to Briggs and Inamura. So just out of sheer spite and for the sacredty that is whatever this tag team division is, I have Fraxium retaining. But again, I am worried that we're getting an ass pull here. So Macho, who you got for this one? Oh, you keep muting yourself. There you go.
Well, I think Fraxium's going to win here. I'm not expecting.
Not Sons of Anarchy.
This is just a weird little tag team. Normally, I love things like this. You know what I mean? But no, I don't need to see this guy wrestle again. Like, this is a weird dude. There's something about him. He's just weird. Like, under those pants, he's wearing a thong. It's just like one of those weird things. Like, it's just like, I'm not. It's like, I don't believe it. Like, you're trying to be a tough guy. I don't know if you got the what?
Who's wearing a thong? I missed this.
Briggs.
Briggs
wearing a thong.
I was thinking more like it, but
Yeah. It's something. He's probably wearing the elephant underwear under there. That's what he is. Yeah. What I will say is, like, there's just it came off like, did you guys catch the story? Like, I feel like that they were trying not to tell during that triple threat tag match where he almost looked like afraid to jump in the ring. Like, I don't know, if you go back and watch the match, he just looks so unsure of himself. And I don't think that was like, oh, him as a human being. I think that was what they were trying to, like, oh, I don't know if I should tag this guy in. I don't know if we're a good team. And it was just like, I think that
you
haven't
done enough to get there. Like, what?
It's just so, I don't know. I'm always going to root for A Kid, though.
Yeah.
I just think that
Axiom/A Kid.
Yeah. And then Bodhi from, Point Break here.
Cool. I love that we're all in unison. No, we don't need to say no more. I wish we had some, like, No, I don't want to root against our Native American boy, but Trick kind of needs this, and that's a very, very low bar for me. So I have Trick winning this one. Can you abstain?
I literally don't care who wins this match.
You know what? If you want to abstain, that is okay with me, but make sure you put something down on the form.
I'll put Mr. Magoo.
Yes, I love that.
Trick. I don't have anything to say 'cause this match is weird.
I'm less mad at this, but we don't even need to discuss. Oba's winning. There is no way he loses. And if he does,
Agreed.
Shawn Michaels, you're going to get a strongly worded email from me. And we can all agree we all have Oba for this one. Cool. Now, I am confident of the winner in this one, but you know what? This one should close the show. I hope it closes the show. But we have our fatal four-way with Julia, Bailey, Roxanne, and Cora. Yeah, this picture of Cora that they added to this is kind of funny to me. She's like, killer. So, you know what? I thought about this the whole review, Macho. A quick side note, like trying to figure out this new Cora character. I feel like that is the wrong genre of song to have for her. If they're going to do like new metal / screamo, I feel like you need to get like again, something that not a lot of people know about me. You look at me and you're like, oh, he must listen to a lot of pop and hip hop, which is true. But I'm also a rock and metal head. So I'm thinking like Spirit Box, you know, Crush, Hayley Williams. Like, I need that version of Cora J, but that's a whole different discussion. I have Julia retaining here. I don't think she's going to lose it this soon, but something tells me that I think this is going to end up being my favorite match because I think these four women are going to fight with everything they have to win. At least I hope so. Plus, you get Bailey and Roxanne's feud continuing, which might, culminate in the Elimination Chamber. You have Cora and Roxanne also. And then Julia's out here just ready to fight bitches. She's like, bring them all on. I'm going to take them out. I have Julia retaining here. I don't think she's losing it, but I think this is going to be my favorite match. I hope it's my favorite match. So, Macho, who you got?
I'm Julia, 100%. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be great. I think this sets up Julia versus Cora in the future. I think Cora kind of like has Julia wrapped up for the win. That's kind of like the story they'll tell. Roxanne will screw her over, and then, they'll fight. Julia gets the upper hand and probably pins Bailey. That's a good way to that's probably how she does it. Just kind of me thinking of how the match will go out. I think Julia's celebrating, and then Charlotte Flair's music hits as another tease to I'll possibly pick you, because she's going to milk this out. So I love it. Don't tease me with Charlotte Flair to Julia, though. Don't do it, Shawn Michaels, because then I'm going to want it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to watch it. Don't tease
I know.
me.
I felt the same way because I still want to see Charlotte and Tiffany because I think between the three women's champions, I think that could be a fun story to tell. But I would not be opposed to a Charlotte and Julia. But don't tease me forever because then I'm going to want it. And then when it doesn't happen, I'm going to be mad. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, boys, I appreciate you being here. I know this was a long one, so thank you. But we are going to get up on out of here because the three of us want to talk more about cooking out off the air. So that's what we're going to do for a little bit. But from myself, Will, and Macho, and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you next Wednesday for...
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.